All right, we're in the interview portion of the show. We are joined by Rams offensive lineman, Super Bowl champion, Chicago native, Hinsdale Central, Brian Allen. Brian, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me on.
Into the mic. You got to move up.
Appreciate you having me on.
You doing a lot of podcasts or what? Look at that.
It's first time. A little nervous.
So obviously, we're sitting here, Brian, and we do some research, and I'm looking at your Wikipedia right now, and I laughed out loud. And you're like, what's so funny? I was like, I just read your Wikipedia. Do you know what I laughed at? And you fucking nailed it.
Instantly. Yeah. You were like, I know exactly why you're laughing at my Wikipedia page. Why is it?
There's a couple funny things you could have gone with there, but yes, the COVID thing. A lot of people like to pick fun at.
What is the COVID thing exactly?
I was the first player in the NFL with COVID, so a lot of people like to make fun of me or say that I started it or all this stuff's my fault. So.
And what's crazy is he said, well, yeah, besides that, there was the whole Jay Glazer thing. And then I'm like, holy fuck, now I even remember even deeper how utterly crazy that whole time was. So explain that from your shoes. Jay Glazer acted like he had the biggest scoop in the world, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. So, they said they were going to.
Jay Glazer said he's like, I'm going to break it late. Yes.
Yeah. So, I talked to him on the phone, did the story, and whatnot, and then, I start seeing this stuff on Twitter the day before, huge breaking news, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there's no fucking way that this is about me. This can't be about me. I'm not I play center in the NFL. I'm a fat guy who blocks people. I'm not cool. No one's gonna think this is big news. And then, sure enough, the story broke that I had COVID, and the responses were what I was thinking. I'm like, this is just tough.
So he called you on the phone, because we get the inside, Woj bombs and Glazer and whatever, Schefter's.
I'm friends with him, so I know him a little bit. Just he's friends with mutual guys throughout the team.
Does he text you and say, hey, I want to jump on the phone with you real quick?
Well, we were together something the week before, and just kind of word of mouth got out that I had it, so just talking about it. So
I mean, huge story, because no offense to Jay, but he had built this up like the Rams were going back to St. Louis. If it was, he built it up I mean, there was nothing that could have been too big, and it was just Brian Allen has COVID, first NFL player.
And at the time too, respectfully, you're not, you're not a Pro Bowl alternate. You're not a Super Bowl champion. You're a back. Are you even a backup at the time?
Well, I was hurt at the time, so I was still coming back from my knee injury that I had, because I was a starter in 19, and then I had hurt my knee, so I'd been hurt. That whole time, so I'm out and kind of forgotten about at that point. So
you mean to tell me that this fucking guy not only is he's an offensive lineman in his COVID, but he's fucking hurt too? Who is this guy?
So those thoughts were going through my mind the day before, thinking, all right, I don't know what I got myself into here, but it worked out. It's all right.
So take me from you go from this COVID diagnosis and the Jay Glazer report, and now we sit here today, and you're a Super Bowl champion. Did you think that it was possible when you got the initial COVID diagnosis?
It was a come back for the record books, but I had a serious knee injury at that point, so at that point in time, just definitely wouldn't think that I'd be here, and had the year we had with the Rams, and all the stuff we went through to get there. So a lot of ups and downs since then, and glad to be here with you now since the first time we met.
But here's the thing too, and what made this whole thing even better. Well, not better. I'm glad you're okay. A lot of people weren't okay from COVID, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah, for sure.
Was that we're like, well, how'd you get it? Guess where he was on that weekend? It was St. Patrick's Day, and he was in Chicago.
Oh, get out of here! Were you were at our party at McFadden's?
I wasn't at that party, but this was still kind of where we weren't sure what COVID was. The city was still open, masks weren't a thing yet at that point. So yeah, I was here for St. Patrick's Day. Then I got back to California and couldn't smell, and I guess that was one of the symptoms. So got tested and was positive.
We didn't bring you in here to sandbag you about all this COVID stuff either, because you've been hanging out for a little bit, and like I said, Brian's a neighborhood guy. Not to offend you, because you're a neighborhood guy, but when I say neighborhood guy, we talk about a Super Bowl from Hinsdale, and then obviously
I'm
Michigan
suburbs.
State.
I know my part. Once you say Chicago and everyone starts digging a little deeper, I claim Hinsdale. I know where I'm from. How
is our representation in the NFL? Are you proud of what the Chicago metropolitan area has in the NFL relative to your high school experiences here?
Yeah, for sure. There's some guys lingering around for sure. Mm-hmm. So
people love to shit on Chicago football, I feel. Like they just like in the comparison to Texas, Florida, whatever. But I mean, you're right. There's a lot of guys doing pretty well.
Yeah, definitely not the numbers and masses that some states have, but there's definitely a lot of guys still playing at a high level in the NFL from Illinois. So.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I do want to take a moment real quick because our podcast is sponsored by Miller Lite, and I know that you're going to get a Super Bowl ring in a little bit, but could you at least review this ring? This is our Miller Time ring, and see if that fits on one of your fucking sausages. I feel like that's
right on the ring finger.
Yeah, that's a better ring than what
perfectly.
you're going to get for have you guys talked about what the Super Bowl ring, like who's in charge? Is Odell Beckham is he going to
probably the important people, and I know where I fall on that totem pole, so whatever they decide to do, I'm going to be very happy with what they give us. So.
No opinion from the O-line room, huh?
I'm sure Witt and
yeah.
Havenstein, a couple more of the important guys will have a say in it, but I'll be grateful for whatever they design. I'm sure it'll be awesome. So.
Well, I was telling you that earlier, where when you guys were playing in the game, that like, sorry, did you give the review? Did I jack the review?
No, I think he should be. Put this back on. You should be wearing an obnoxiously sized ring for the remainder of this interview.
It's a good point.
You definitely should.
I haven't been saying this, but the ongoing joke is, wherever you go, you let people know you're world champ. So
yeah, people call me champ. You are champ. So
you guys see that our wide receiver Van Jefferson had a kid the night of the game?
Yeah, I
and
did see that.
Named his son Champ.
Oh,
yes.
Born
Sick.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I turned down being the godfather for that. Now, do you guys know that when you take the field, like is that a thing in the locker room where it's like, yo, she's about to pop, man, like we got to win this game for my kid?
Not the heroic speeches of winning the game for the player's significant other, or the son or daughter, whatever it is, but you are aware of those situations. Our right tackle, Rob Havenstein, my rookie year, we're playing Minnesota on like Thursday Night Football, and he was all jittery, knowing that his wife was expecting that night. So we finish the game, goes to the hospital, has the kid. It comes up probably once every other year, someone on the team is expecting or something. Odell had his son a day or two ago, so, he was kind of on edge for the game. So that stuff comes up more than you think.
Yeah, and that's was it like a thing where he where when he left, like you guys were waiting for him to come back to the party? Like, how did that work?
No, like the last 2 weeks, the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, like you win and you usually just go in the game, go into the locker room, break it down, and everyone kind of goes on their way. And there wasn't a breakdown speech or anything. It was kind of chaos. You win the NFC, everyone's on the field with their families, and you kind of get back in an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is, later after the game, and no one's in there. You kind of just go on your way. And Super Bowl, same thing. So you see who you want to see, and you're out of there.
That's
so
it.
kind of chaos.
And then I was telling you earlier how I like Stafford. Obviously, we living in Chicago. Like you grew up watching him, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like we played them twice a year for every year, and but it was all about let's get Stafford a ring and let's get Stafford a ring. Whitworth is seems like the best. What's it like playing with him? And like, is he kind of a vocal guy? Like, what's it like? Being alongside Whitworth.
I wouldn't say as much vocal. Just anytime you got a guy in your room who's 40 years old who has that much football experience, it's a rare situation. Something that not every room's fortunate enough to have, and so much wisdom. He speaks. Doesn't speak a lot, but when he does, you listen, and they're just very willing to help. All the guys in the room, the team, and whatever it is to get a win, really. And, he spent 11, 12 years, whatever it was, in Cincinnati and never won a playoff game. So you talk about a guy who comes to L.A., never winning a playoff game, and, doing everything he does for our team and, for guys individually. He's got a gym at his house, has workouts there, has Christmas meals, Thanksgiving meals, and, a guy who's been through everything you can be in the NFL and then not have a Super Bowl trophy or Walter Payton Man of the Year this year. So, for him to win that this year, both of those awards is, awesome to have a front row seat to see, and I just couldn't be happier for him. Everything, he's been through, like I said, and, to get there and do everything that he has for us to kind of be able to play a small part in that gift to him. I don't know. I saw today, not sure if he's retiring or not, But if that is his last game, cool to go out that way and be able to play a part in providing that for him.
In some context to what we're too, like he cracks into the league. I mean, no offense. Like your balls haven't even dropped. Like he cracks in the league, dude. You're fucking trading Pokemon cards.
To be fair, I was a late grower, matured late.
But I mean, like, right? Like, let's see. You were born in 95.
95, yeah.
Yeah. So you're in elementary school when he is in his first NFL locker room.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, I would say so. What about I guess in that same vein, like I'm compelled to ask about Aaron Donald. Like if Whitworth and Aaron Donald go up in like an Oklahoma drill.
I think that's like your classic like who wins in a fight, like a tiger or silverback gorilla like meet in the jungle, like similar page that we're going on. Like they're both freaks, both. Whit in his prime would be a more fair fight, I think, but we're definitely onto something here.
Are you offended when guys like us ask you about that, though? Because you're like, dude, I'm a fucking starting center here. Like,
no, not at all. I'm sitting there thinking these hypotheticals all the time. Yeah, for sure.
Now, what's it really like, though? Because people, especially when you're younger, when you played in high school, you crack a little bit, but there's this interpretation, and you let us know if it's true or not, that like you guys aren't really getting after it in practice anymore. So are you fucking going up against Donald that much, or is it like everyone thinks where you guys are just like in shells a lot and whatnot?
Yeah, for a starter, probably, you're more so going through, the game plan and kind of getting the week's specifics down, if you will. Training camp, there's more of that, but with the Rams, I know at least like we're never live or tackling or anything like that, so it's more of a thud environment, and so you don't get a true game feel, but you're still playing. You're still going at a fast pace and fast enough to feel what he's capable of. So, but you get enough of that in the thud-like setting to kind of feel what he's capable of doing. So,
best body on the team.
I got to go to Aaron Donald, unfortunately.
Right, like I'm
gonna hate to give him that because I walk by him every day, and I'll flex at him to let him know I'm competing a little bit. But
do like DBs have better abs than him? Because he went at the parade. I know everybody knows it, but like. He legitimately looks like he's just like a frat boy ready to go to fucking Cancun for the weekend. Like his abs and the fucking biceps are
See, I don't know about like frat boy because he's thick. Like he's an angry core. Not like you're like it's there. Like it's there and it can beat you up too. There's some attitude behind it.
Yeah. This is crazy too because there's just so many people on that team where it's like, was it just a chaos thing? Like was it nuts? Like
honestly, it is pretty awesome. Like walking into our building every day, the superstars I've gotten to be teammates with, like they don't have that in many places. Where like this year alone, like Von Miller and OBJ get added late. Like those are two superstars like Witt who were, they're selling jerseys when I was in middle school. So to be able to be teammates with guys like that, like Brandon Cooks, Todd Gurley, years past, like just superstar after superstar, and just be able to be teammates with them and. Joke about having better abs than them in the locker room. That's stuff that, it's awesome.
Now, when you added Odell mid-season, was there a little worrisome? Like, were people worried about how he was going to fit and whatnot?
I wouldn't say worry, but I think, like, the media just does what they do, and you hear everything they say, and you kind of make up who people are in your mind before you meet them, and, take what you hear and kind of form your own opinion, from there. But once he got there, he was awesome to me, great teammate, and again, one of those guys who, you grow up who, that's another thing with him. Like you play with guys who are football stars, and then you play with celebrities. Like Aaron Donald walks out of the locker room, like they're pumped, they're freaking out. Like I've witnessed this firsthand where I'm out there stretching, and Aaron comes out, he's stretching, people are going crazy. OBJ walks out, like. People are losing their minds. Like, this guy is a celebrity. Like, he's a stud, famous in the NFL, all that, but, like, he's a celebrity. Like, he's got that, like, next-tier status. But, like, he's an awesome dude, awesome teammate, and he really is, like, very humble and hardworking and, all those things you can say. Like, he really is, and you don't hear about that from the media, and those are things that I was introduced to, this year when he got there. So, surprised a little bit, yeah, for sure. So awesome to have him, and he's my guy. We joke around a lot. I try to gritty with him every now and then, so I can do it a little bit. He likes it. So,
how bad did you feel for Goff?
Jared?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, for sure. Being there last year and then, leaving this year, and then I played center, obviously. So, I was with him a lot and worked with him a lot. So he's a great guy. Have a lot of good memories with him, and he made me a better football player being there with him, and still got to the Super Bowl with him one year. Great player, and I don't know what Detroit didn't have a great year obviously this year, but they're competitive this year, and they were in it with us till the end, and wishing him nothing but the best and hoping to see him soon. He's still boys with a lot of guys on our team, and see him around every now and then. Great guy, just good dude overall.
Could you see like when they make the trade originally? At least from my perspective, it was like Goff you guys just went to the Super Bowl, and you guys were down this path, and he's a first overall pick and all this stuff. So then when Stafford came in the locker room that first time, or you guys kind of get the sense like, what was that difference where you guys were like, oh, this is why? Because I would imagine some of you guys were like, well, we just traded Jared. So like, where did Stafford? Was there anything where you were like, oh shit, this is why we did it?
Well, it was weird for me too, because first time like I went from being in college to being in the NFL, and it's like a blockbuster trade. It's my first time really being a part of that. I had gone into the Rams knowing, I think they had acquired Brandon Cooks that offseason, Robert Woods the year before, some big name guys like that. And the first time that like a big trade had happened when I was actually there on the team. So kind of just sitting there not really knowing what's going to happen. It's not like, Les Snead called me up to talk about how I felt about it. So, I saw like you guys on ESPN, and, just kind of took back from, everything. My life changed, who I was working with every day. So, but just seeing Matt come in, and it's got to be tough for him too, 12 years in Detroit, to being on his first team for the first time, second team for the first time in the NFL. So, but, he came in like a pro and, took command of our offense, and just awesome dude. True pros pro, first guy in there, last one to leave, and
really,
hard to beat him into the facility, hard to beat him staying. So not many times I got him on that one, and Cooper Kupp too. They're in there all the time together, and that's just a testament to what they did this season. And they're no one outworked them in meeting time this year, that's for sure. So cool to be a part and see. Definitely motivates you, and. Matt's just that guy. He gets in the huddle and takes command of the huddle, and everyone trusts in him, believes in him, and he's gonna get the ball to the right read. Whether Coop's open or not, he's going through that progression and making sure we're on the right play, and just awesome teammate to have. Really grateful to have played for him this year. And like you guys said, growing up in Chicago, it's like I know the Vikings, I know the Lions, I know the Bears, I know the Packers, unfortunately, and like. To get to play with Matt Stafford, like I was in middle school when he was playing at Soldier Field. So like I got all my middle school buddies with me still kind of giggling that I'm snapping him a football. So it's pretty cool from this area to be able to play with him.
I mean, dude, so many people though. Like that's legitimately like a video game. Every day, like there's probably a new kid at class. It's like, all right, guys, say hi to Von Miller.
Yeah.
Say hi to Odell Beckham Jr. Say hi to Jalen Ramsey. It's crazy.
Who do you give credit for integrating these people? Is it McVay? Is it just the locker room?
I think it's McVay, the locker room. Just, everyone does their part. We get all these guys who have had problems places, or, they got some story about their character or something like that, and they get into our locker room and, they're just a normal guy. Leonard Floyd was with the Bears forever.
Yeah.
You guys hated him. He's
We didn't hate Leonard. I wouldn't say that.
We just spent a very high draft pick on him, and then he was more of like a scheme guy than like a.
Well, he's scheming up for the LA Rams
he
right
was
now.
great.
I'll
He
tell
had
you
some
that.
good years, man. He had some good years.
But like Leonard's the man. He works hard and awesome dude, and everyone gets along with him. And I wouldn't say he's in the same category as some of the other guys who have come, into LA with, kind of a history, but
then another name like Weddle. Like I remember, like you just see like Weddle come in a highlight when you're first, like when the Bears played the Rams week 1. It was like, wait a second, Weddle
like might have been on like NFL Pro Street or something. Like he might be that old.
Yeah.
Endless, man.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the biggest freak of them all is fucking McVay. Like, is he just out of his mind? This guy?
He's a freak. It's it's hard for like a fan to appreciate like the level of football, like IQ and savviness and just football smarts in general, because like you guys aren't exposed to that, and it like you never will be, just the way that it works. Like we're sitting at football for 12 hours a day, like you guys are sitting here, or you know, someone's sitting at a finance job. You know, we're attacking it that seriously, that you know, that committed. So, but he's next level. Like I've had guys on our staff who have won Super Bowls with other teams all the way back in the 80s. You know, there's a lot of football history and knowledge going through our room, and I don't want to be disrespectful and say he walks circles around a lot of coaches, but his echelon of thinking and where he's at mentally with football is next level. And
like the hype outside is real. Like the way we look at it. And he's recalling the plays. And he's all that.
Like, again, like the media will blow up him remembering. I think everyone made a big deal about him remembering like the depth chart of a team one year. But like, and that's what the media wants to blow up, because that's, you know, that's
and he remembers like every play,
cool.
Right?
But he knows offense through and through. He knows defense through and through. He can go through and give you all of our play calls, offensively, defensively, down to the combination blocks on the offensive line, to the checks on the back end and the secondary. Like, there's not many coaches who can do that and kind of know really all that stuff. Yeah, like he knows it all. It's not he's a specialist here, he's a specialist there. Like he really has his hand on everything. And then, oh, by the way, he wants to call our plays and be a G at that too. So he really is just the man. And again, youngest head coach to win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
I do have a McVay like situational thing. Obviously, the play calling and the genius and stuff. But you were involved in a, you know, I'll call it boneheaded, and you're going to correct me on this, but like you threw the ball over Stafford's head against the Bucs, and it was dramatic. I'll let you tell the story, but when you come back, is McVay a yeller? Is he like a what the fuck, or is it like a hey Brian, don't do that again? Or
McVay is very calm, cool, and collected, unless you screw up in a big moment or have kind of one of those big what the fuck moments, if you will. And you know, coming to the bench after that one wasn't easy. You knew.
Was that the hardest you've ever had to walk off the field?
I've had a couple with him definitely over the years. That's one of them that'll be remembered there. I've definitely have had some embarrassing ones over the years. So, but yeah, that was a tough one. But critical moment, bad play by me, and
dude, but it's out of your system.
Yeah, I mean,
like there's so many players
right?
whose careers are defined by like oh, you fucked this up or whatever. Like you guys came back, you were world champs. It's fine.
Was like, is it terrifying being on the other end of like, holy fuck, we're about to get Brady'd? Like, be honest. Did it cross your mind?
I have been Brady'd, so I don't know if that was a personal shot or not, but I mean, it's football. You know, kind of late in the games, you get a flow of the game. What's going to happen? What bad situations can arise out of certain times and positions of the game? So, I mean, all that stuff comes up in your head.
And then I gotta ask, and this is probably a very hard question for you to answer, but you're from here. You know what it's like to be a fucking diehard Chicago Bear fan. You know what it's like to give a fuck so much that it's unhealthy, that you shouldn't care that much. Obviously, the perception was that people didn't give a fuck in LA. What was it like on the ground floor? Is that much
like the parade? And
yeah, no, I mean it's definitely growing. Like it's definitely something we're aware of. I mean, we playing at the Coliseum and having kind of I don't want to call it a neutral home stadium, but we don't have a home stadium. We're playing at somewhere that's not home, and teams new to the city for the second time or the third time. I don't know how many times they've been in and out of LA, but it's definitely something that's growing. And at the same time, like, I don't want to make excuses for fans, but Chicago in December isn't a fun time to be outside. And in LA, you got the beach, you got the Kardashians, you got Hollywood, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, whatever it is. So there's definitely a lot more stuff going on. So it's hard to fault people for wanting to be inside at a stadium all the time, but at the same time, it's definitely growing. From the Coliseum to the SoFi, you definitely see a transition. And the COVID year didn't help either, being there for the first year, not having fans in. But this year, you definitely saw like a growth and kind of a hometown feel, and a little bit more buy-in and ownership from the fan base. So definitely growing, and this year's going to do nothing but help. And I don't know if you guys have been out to SoFi, but it's pretty cool little campus, cool Looks little
amazing.
venue, and It's awesome Sunday atmosphere.
What team do you hate the most?
I don't know why the Packers just came to my mind, but like Packers and NFC rivals, the Seahawks and Niners, like
Yeah.
it's kind of
Is there? I know it's different conferences, but is there any pulse there with the Chargers? Like if you see Dan Feeney at the Froyo shop, like are you gonna beat his ass? I know he's on the Jets now.
me
but,
and Feeney are boys. He'd probably
Are
be
you?
drinking a Miller Lite. So haven't got to see him. That's another thing about LA though. So the Chargers, like they're in LA, but their facility's probably 2 hours south of ours. So
Oh damn!
like there's not a lot of interaction. Like if we're going out, if you will, in LA, like you're probably going to West Hollywood, Santa Monica. They're hanging out down by Newport more probably. So
okay.
there's a little bit of space in between there.
Kind of sounds like that's better. No.
Yeah, yes and no. It's different vibe depending on what your flavor is.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys have a good. It sounds like the Rams are run as well as like a team can be run in LA. Like you have the celebrity status and you have these like big name guys. Like nobody wants the LA Rams, the Los Angeles. Like no one wants the NFL team in Los Angeles to be like the fucking gritty Steelers or like the well-coached Patriots. Like we want Hollywood, and that's what you guys fucking.
Well, I mean,
gave us.
how could you be though? Because like we're living in, like our teammates are living in Calabasas and Hidden Hills and Malibu, and you know the Steelers are living on the outskirts of Pittsburgh. You know, it's not. it's a different deal.
And there's nothing against the outskirts of Pittsburgh, but it's interesting now that you are out of your original like contract as a rookie and all, or not, you know, whatever. You're into the next
Rookie
wave.
contract,
yeah,
yeah.
rookie contract. So you're into free agency and stuff like that. So do you have like a style of play that profiles well in free agency? Where people are like, oh, this guy he's really good at this. Teams would like Brian Allen's services because of why?
Yeah, I think naturally most people would say I fit more of a outside zone scheme-esque offense, but I really don't have a preference, to be honest. Like we have a healthy mix of kind of everything with the Rams.
So if your agent comes to you and he's like, hey, like are you gonna like, is that an outside zone, inside zone? What are they asking me to do? Do I have to switch over to guard, or is it like you just kind of?
Yeah, no. At the end of the day, football's football, and you know there's certain type of plays that teams like to run more than others, and you know I like playing football. You know, whatever's called, happy to run. So
I heard the Bears they're targeting center. So
I heard that rumor too.
We need some help in the interior.
interesting.
And we were talking about it earlier too. So you give the people, because you come from a wrestling family, give the people what you finished all 4 years in high school downstate. 4 years?
Sorry,
No, you're good. You're good.
No, you're
We're
a Super Bowl
occupied a little
champion.
bit
You're
over
having
here.
a couple
You're
cold
good.
ones, and
World
this is exactly
champ.
how it should be.
World champ.
World
Now
champ.
do you guys? That's it. You guys aren't Super Bowl champs. You're world champs.
I mean we're both, but you know.
Have you heard that, Ed?
No, never.
Like a Super Bowl champion correcting someone, being like, "I'm not a Super Bowl champ, I'm a world champ."
I'm good with either. I'm just, you know, the other guys on the team have been throwing world champ around, and it sounds
better.
I don't know about better, just maybe a little more respectful.
Is that a fact though? Did you play the Argonauts? Like, there's, you know,
Did they have a football team?
I don't even know if they won the CFL.
But if they had a football team, their players would probably be in the NFL.
Oh man.
That's right, and you know, XFL's coming, USFL's coming.
If they want to play, I mean, for the world title.
Any interest in the XFL?
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Like if it's an
we'll see what
off-season
happens
league,
in free
It's
agency.
a spring league. You get approval from your next team. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I want a couple starts for the Chicago Bandits or whatever.
Hey.
Could you imagine if they could actually
Live reps, best way to get
competitively
better.
offer? Be crazy.
You know, Vince McMahon comes in. But
He's
you,
out.
as a wrestler, sorry, go back to this. As a Vince, talk about full circle in a moment here. Vince McMahon comes in XFL. What are your qualifications as a high school wrestler to work for Vince McMahon?
See, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, like, you throw out high school wrestler. Like, I was a pretty good high school wrestler. It wasn't like the big kid like going out there wrestling. Like I was a legit wrestler. So I think there's a future in that if he needed me. I know a couple guys who have pursued the WWE and things of that nature who I've competed with who had.
You're too technical.
I mean, I'm like 9 or 10 of these Miller Lights in, but I'd compare myself to their wrestling abilities that I could hang around.
And what's the so to give the people what you finished
What's
at
that?
state, downstate?
Yeah, so my freshman year I took third at 215. Sophomore year, third to heavyweight. My junior year I won the state title at heavyweight. My senior year, I was upset in the state finals.
What school did that guy go to?
He went to Moline.
Oh, Moline.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
No, the Moline Maroons.
Fucking Quad
Something
City.
like that. Quad Cities, yeah.
There's
Oh.
a good pizza place out
But-
there in the river.
And I was saying too.
You spent a lot of time in the Quad Cities?
I actually have. Fuck yourself.
Can you name all of the 4 Quad Cities?
I will right now.
I can.
Davenport, Moline, fucking
I know the other 2.
Bettendorf.
That's
Yep.
correct.
And is it really? Is Bettendorf one of them?
Yep.
Yep.
Correct.
Oh.
Great restaurant up there, Steventon's over the
And
river if you
Galena.
haven't been. No.
it's
No,
not
what's the
Galena.
other one?
High school's red and yellow.
That is it.
Is Rock Island?
Correct.
Yeah.
Rock Island.
Rock Island is like Rockford. I get those ones confused all the time.
Hey,
But I was telling you that you finishing third at 215 as a freshman might be more impressive than winning a Super Bowl to me.
World champ. Or more impressive.
Being
thank
a
you,
world
Carl.
champ.
Thank you. Honestly, at that point in time in my
crazy.
athletic career, like you think like, 14-year-old high school wrestling's not important, but like what you're in the wrestling community, it's a pretty big thing to place
Huge.
at a high weight class as a young kid in
Who is
3A.
it not important to?
I don't know. Is the wrestling community matter to you here?
I
in
would
Illinois?
say if you finish third
What's
as a
going on
freshman,
with Brother
the IHA
Rice's program?
All right, bro. We actually have. We're
You got
hosting
Rudy Yates. Rudy
Bro,
Yates
we're
was a couple
hosting
state champs.
sectionals. We're hosting sectionals. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's actually this weekend. What are you doing on the? Yeah, why don't you come out?
We'll see.
Support the boys.
We had a 215 winner my sophomore year.
Yeah.
I think.
What's his name?
Joe Fagiano, St. Pat's. He won his junior, I think.
Was that an F or a V? You said Fagiano.
F. Sorry.
Okay.
F.
Thank you for the clarification.
Well, I mean, he could be out. He would want the credit.
He wants the proper, yeah.
Mhm. Do you see yourself more as a wrestler or a football player, though?
Honestly, a wrestler. My dad was a wrestler. Grew up wrestling my whole life, and that was kind of my sport.
Wrestlers are so
used
weird.
All that, all the lessons that I've learned from wrestling, though, I've really used, and it's been applicable to my football career, and all that stuff. I kind of use that to, motivate me and give me that edge, if you will, in the football world.
That's interesting because there was always some like myth where it's not good for linemen to be wrestlers. Have you heard that before?
I've heard the other way around.
Have
on
you?
That, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. Maybe not linemen, just in general.
Well, let's settle this. What have you heard and what have you heard?
Well, I guess if you're a defensive player, like, shooting is different from tackling. Like you'd fuck that up.
I disagree. Like shoulder leverage tackling is like the new thing. Like everyone wants to adapt like the rugby game kind of
Yeah.
for safety reasons, and it's similar to attacks in wrestling, the offensive takedowns and stuff like that. So there's definitely some parallels in both sports.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's what, at least a
Jimmy.
myth I heard.
That's here's my parallel. Here's what it takes to be a good wrestler and to be a good football player. You have to be a bad dude.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the common denominator. Like you start
Yeah,
there.
there's
Like you're
more
not going
to
to
it,
find a
though,
wrestler
like-
who's very good who's like a puss.
I'd say like for offensive line and defensive line play, like you understand leverage more. Like is a wide receiver going to get as much out of it as a offensive lineman or a defensive lineman or someone who's blocking or trying to establish angles of leverage, and I think that's where it's more showing up and more in the game of football.
Yeah. Now, when does the bender end? Did you give yourself a date?
Who? What's the date today?
Well, you came in today. You're like just
24th.
a couple.
It's
Just
the
a couple.
24th. We won the 13th, I think, or the 14th.
Yes, 13th.
It's been crazy, man. The day after was probably like the most relaxed day because my parents were still in town. So once I got them to LAX and kind of back home out of the picture, I could
Get after it.
take the belt off, kind of relax a little bit, breathe a little bit. So we went from that to the parade, straight to Vegas for a couple days, and then got home, packed my stuff up. I'm moving, so kind of in limbo right now, trying to figure out what's going to happen with free agency. And then I live in Scottsdale in the off season, so I actually had a couple college teammates out there on a golf trip that
nice.
I unfortunately had to catch the end of out there. So
There's no hesitancy on your part that, like, you come into free agency, like, you will start next year, right? You're going to be a starting center in the NFL. You open up week away from injury, whatever. Just saying, like, on paper, you're a starting center in the NFL next year.
In my mind, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like the sense of pressure? I would feel pressure like this, even though you're in free agency. Like, your fucking guys got to go out and
Pressure's a privilege, Carl. Come on.
Say that again?
Pressure is a privilege. That's a Sean McVay quote. You can write that one down.
I am writing it down.
I like that quote. That's good. But no, listen, we fucked around a lot. But sincerely, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
I love
you.
seeing fucking people from, Chicagoland area do well. So especially alignment. So
Thank you.
that's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the pinnacle. Linemen don't get, you have to be Andre Whitworth getting the Walter Payton Man of the Year for people to talk about you. So the World Championship, this is it, man.
This is a small consolation prize.
Did you pictured it just like this when you were a kid in Hinsdale? You're like, I'm going to fucking win the Super Bowl, come hang out with these guys.
I'm going to win the Super Bowl. Some Barstool thing's going to take off. I'm going to bump into this guy in Scottsdale, and we're going to be here.
And you also said you played in the playoff game, right, at Michigan State?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. It was a rough night in Jerry World down in Dallas. Alabama got the better of us that night.
But
How many of those Alabama guys have a better, like when you were out there playing, you're like, I'm gonna have a better NFL career? Where you fucking?
I got one teammate from that team, Sean Robinson. He was on that team that night. So, but I will say, like, going to a Michigan State, not necessarily a tier 1 national, powerhouse. You take some pride in that, just going out and playing a guy from Alabama or Ohio State or a school that kind of garners that recognition. So fun to play those guys.
You instantly talk shit to our Michigan guy when you came in here. We have a Michigan guy. He wears Michigan gear. You just instantly came in here like,
you go to Michigan State, you see a guy with Michigan, you talk shit to him. It's the rule.
Oh, did you play? You played in that crazy game then, right? Or were you gone by then?
Are you talking about the game where? No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
You're talking about the one where the punter dropped the ball and we won on the last. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was there.
What a fucking game, dude.
That was nuts.
Is that the best game you've been a part of? That is.
So, like, Michigan State, like, the wave I hit Michigan State, like, we had some crazy games. Like, we won the Big Ten championship against Iowa on, like, the last 16-play drive or whatever it was to win the game. That was all one season. We had the Michigan game that year. We won on the fumbled snap.
What about the fake punt game?
Jalen Watts Jackson returns it for a touchdown. And
Jalen Watts Jackson.
He was the guy who returned the punt against Michigan. And then that same year, we hit the game-winning field goal against Ohio State to win.
Insane, dude.
The fake punt against Notre Dame.
So that was the first time I had ever been to Michigan State. My older brother was there on a high school recruiting trip. I was 7th grade or something then. And then the next year, they hit Russell Wilson on the Hail Mary to Mike's upset. The Hail Mary to end the game with Kirk Cousins. So those were my first 2 games at Michigan State. The fake field goal and then the Hail Mary.
You've experienced some fucking cool shit as a 26-year-old fucking player.
So I tell my teammates this, and they're like, oh, yeah, and Brian was at the game when Rockne and Notre Dame got it done. Like, they don't – like, I really was at all these games. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude. That really is. Also, your birthday is the day after mine, so if you ever want to celebrate.
Are you 12th or 10th?
I'm the 10th.
Ah.
Yeah.
So perfect. 11:59. It's us.
Let's do it. Scottsdale 2022.
Yeah, I think we're in there.
It's gonna have to be after the football season,
That's right.
We'll see. Last time we were in Scottsdale, this guy needed a babysitter. So
no, I mean, it's not like that. I felt like you were ordering. We had bottle service, and you were like, "Yeah, I want to get some buckets," and then.
Well, I was trying to be polite because I wasn't paying for it, so I thought beer's cheaper than.
Kyle Long was paying for it, and on record, he can pay for every single cold one I drink for the rest of my life.
That's the type of guy I am, though. I'm worried about Kyle's wallet. So
yeah, exactly. Chicago metropolitan area guy, Brian Allen, free agent, world champion. Thanks for coming in. We're gonna see you again.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.